Hey there. So we survived the great Facebook outage of October 2021. How fabulous is that? Were you stressed over it? Did you manage to come up with an alternative solution? Did you go crazy? Did you lose business? Were you stressed? What was your response? I was actually okay. I was minorly inconvenienced, if that's even a word. It's the end of the day. This is late for me coming on here. Um, so I was inconvenienced a little bit, but I survived. I had a few nervous moments, though. I won't kid you, and I'll explain why in just a second. But I know there were people who were just absolutely panic stricken. I managed to get my work done in the morning, but I was supposed to be taking part in a challenge with my coach, and she had to do a pivot, which she did magnificently because she is magnificent, actually. But I wanted to come in today and talk about this issue of our reliance on technology and building our businesses and how scary that can be. Some problems that I had just a couple of years ago building my business around a particular software, and share some thoughts with you on how you can minimize the risk and plan for the future. And I mean, like the immediate future, so you can really start building your business with a lot more confidence. My name is Winnie Anderson. I am a brand and content strategist. I work with service-based businesses and I help them position and pre-sell themselves so they attract more and better qualified clients who are ready to buy. And they don't sell, they help their clients decide to buy. They help them navigate their buying journey. I call it the buying highway. So in this video, I'm going to share some strategies and tips with you so you minimize your risk, continue to build your presence, but do so with a real clear focus and an understanding of the risks and how to minimize them. Okay, so of course, I have my monitor over here, I have my monitor in front of me, and I have notes in front of me as well. So when you see me looking all around, that's what you're watching. Please be sure to click that link where you see acknowledging StreamYard and letting them have access to your profile. What that means is the fabulous platform StreamYard, which is my streaming platform, they will then be able to see your picture and your name. So when I'm looking at the dashboard, which is right in front of me, I'll be able to see your actual smiling face and your name rather than just seeing Facebook member. So feel free to say hi. Let me make sure you let me know that you can hear this, because wacky stuff happens, as we all know. Ask questions, share your thoughts as well. And even if you're watching this on replay, use the magic symbol and replay. Let me know that you're watching this on replay. Go ahead and same thing, ask questions, make comments, because I circle back and I'll respond. So let's dive into this. All right, so we know we have almost no choice. We've got to build our business using technology and using social tools and the web in general and all that good stuff. The problem, though, is when we have built so much of our business around these tools, none of which we own, things get scary. Things break, right? The internet goes down. There are things that happen. A couple of years ago, I had malware on my website. My website was down. It was a horror. Anyway, that's a whole nother thing. So there are all kinds of things that can happen. And, people talk about you need a website because you need a property that you own. I got news for you. You don't own your website, because when you think about it, you're leasing that internet space, right? You register the domain name. You don't own it. You have it for as long as you pay the fee, right? So it's kind of like you're renting that property where you live online. You have to pay your hosting fee. They can throw you out at any point. They also, bad stuff happens. as I said, I had my site infected with malware. Malware got in the server. Many of us use these shared servers because they're low price, right? That's before we realize what that means. It means that we're exposed to the potential infections of other people. So there's nothing that's really 100% safe online. It's all about managing your risk and making things as safe for you as possible. And again, I discovered this big time when I started to really build the work I do with goal achievement and groups. One of the things that I do is I work with business owners to reach their goals and make their next big leap. And we do that by reworking their sales process, their lead generation process, and helping them attract better qualified potential buyers and helping them attract people who are what we call pre-sold. Anyway, so I was using a specific software, building my entire business around this software and this group work that I was doing, that I still do, but on a different platform. And what happened was the owner of that software said, yeah, I'm probably going to take the software offline. Wait, what? I got a business here. And there were, there are hundreds of other people who were using the software and had built their entire business around it. So we all kind of work at the vagaries of other businesses and other business owners. So what do we do? How do we manage to protect ourselves as much as possible? So, like I said, I got some notes here, so I'm going to be glancing down. This is way late for me in the day, and I'm an early riser. So I'm sorry, I might yawn. I feel one coming on. Oh boy, sorry. And at the end of the day, sometimes my brain gets scrambled, but we're going to do the best we can. I was committed to coming in here and getting back to doing live video, and here I am. So, all right. So how do we deal with this? How do we deal with this risk? One is you obviously need to create a strategic plan, and you need to make sure that this is working with your total business plan, what I call your money pyramid. I make a little pyramid sign. What I call your money pyramid, and you want to make sure that you've got things that are supportive and really integrated well into your business. So you want to think about what platforms do you have the most control over. We know that when it comes to who, we have almost no control. We have no control. I manage a Facebook group for 2,400 women, and they private message me all the time. Hey, how come my post got deleted? I didn't delete it. The moderators didn't delete it. Facebook, in all its wisdom, deleted their post. What's that about? And so I won't go off on them, but you know what I'm talking about, right? So you want to, number one is to think about what are the platforms that I have the most control over, and how can I then make sure that most of my attention is going on those platforms and beefing them up. So back to your own website and your hosting. Hey, as long as you keep paying the bill, you have it, right? That's a pretty easy one to make sure that you have access to. Keep paying the bill. Make sure, of course, that you're dealing with a reputable host, all that sort of stuff. I'll talk about that in another time. If you want me to talk about hosting, let me know. I'm not a tech expert, but I know enough to be dangerous when it comes to some of those tech things, and I'm happy to talk about that. So, or find an expert who will. All right, so you're going to think about what do you have the most control over? Your own site and your own private hosting. So I know people who have built really great businesses on sites that are free, right? Blogger, Medium, those kinds of things. I just recommend at some point, though, that you put that on a place that you control, and that's your own site. So then all you have to do is comply with the rules of the hosting platform, right? And of course, you're a good person. You pay your bills, and all will be well to a degree, right? Then you want to think about the value of collecting your own data. We know the business model for who. It's free, right? That's because we're what they're selling. So, and we know that if you've ever watched, oh, I wish I could remember the name of the documentary. It was fantastic about social media and specifically, you know who, and how they rope you into this crazy behavior. I'll share that. Remind me if you want to see that. Put documentary down below, and I'll get the title and I'll let you know what platforms you can see it on. I watched it on Netflix. Anyway, so free platforms are just not going to exist for very long unless they monetize. You know that. You need to make money or you don't have a business. You have a very expensive hobby. So it's totally reasonable for them to make money somehow. But what you want to start thinking about is, hey, how are they making this money? And do I feel good about this? So I'm going to be making a lot of changes. I've been unhappy with those who shall remain nameless for a long time. And I've been trying to been trying to get up enough, energy to make the moves that I've been thinking about. And I've been trying to make those decisions. So more on that later. But you want to think about that and choose your platforms then wisely. And you want to put the most energy into your own, and you want to collect your own data. So I've talked about building an email list before, and I've been lazy about doing that myself, to be honest with you. But the issue is when you have those addresses, I had this event with my fabulous coach Molly. She pivoted, it was crazy. She sent out an email, she sent out a text and said, "Hey, go here." And because she used a forwarding link, more on that in another video as well. If you would like to talk about that, just let me know below. We just clicked the link and we went where she went, and she went to YouTube. So you want to really work to gather that email information from your connections, those, whether it's your prospects, it's your friends list, your followers, your fans, the groups that you run. You want to do your best to get as many people to willingly give you your email address, because there were people who I really could have sent a message to my own folks if I had more email addresses. Because of course I did what you did. First, you shut everything down. You refreshed your screen, your browser. Then you turned everything off and rebooted. That didn't work. Is it the machine? And I went and turned on all my two laptops. I have two laptops. How crazy is that? My iPad. I was doing everything. Is it my Wi-Fi? What's the problem? No, it was them, right? So, but our first thought is that it must be us. So you want to make sure that you're building that email list. And so I've talked about this issue before, and I'm not a big fan of leading with getting an opt-in. I don't know about you. I spent dozens of hours, if not more, creating opt-ins that nobody opted in for. So I don't want you to rush to create something and then have it not be effective. That's something that you want to make sure that you make a good decision about. So I'm going to bet what you want more clients, right? So your most wanted action on your website should be to inspire somebody to reach out to you. Then you can have them give you their email address, that kind of thing. So you're leading with, of course, getting sales or having signups for an event that you have coming up. So you want to do that strategically. But you do want to build your email address. It is actually an asset of your business. When you have a responsive email address, not an email address full of people who don't do anything, don't respond, don't open, that sort of thing, you're not building your brand. But when you have a solid email list of responsive people who open, who click, who buy, who engage with you, that actually raises the total value of your business. And it helps you do things like forecasting and budgeting and all of that real business stuff that business people do or should be doing. So you want to make sure that you're building up that email list. And there are different tools, of course, you can use to do that. A well-written and well-run bot will actually help you. They'll automate the capture of email addresses, but you can just say, hey, give me your email address and I'll give you that document they asked for. And if people do it, they do. And if they don't, they don't. So, and of course, I know you're going to comply with the regulations and GDPR and all that good stuff. So, all right. So you want to make sure that you're collecting that data, and you want to make sure that you are thinking about also what really is the best strategy for you, and putting all of your digital eggs in one digital basket, probably not the best move. Again, it's inertia. It's that we've got so many other things to do, and this is working most of the time. Everything's fine. So we're not going to jump in and turn to something new. However, I know on my plans, and I'm working my plan right now for the coming year, my plan is to start to expand my reach and use more platforms. My plan includes repurposing my content so that it's multimedia and it's across these different platforms. I'm not putting all my eggs in one basket, because guess who I don't trust? And, you know, you probably shouldn't either. So you want to start thinking about that. So as you start, this is the perfect time to reflect. I mean, any time really is a good time, right? There's always a good time for planning, but especially at this particular point in the year, you want to sit back. I call this a cocktail exercise. Just imagine yourself with your feet up, stroking your chin, your notepad, thinking big thoughts with the beverage of your choice. Doesn't have to be alcohol. Don't drink and drive. Don't overindulge. But that's the kind of mental image I have when I say cocktail exercise. So anyway, you want to really start thinking about, how can I extend my reach without a whole lot of effort? How can I reduce my reliance on an unreliable platform? And how can I come out with a bigger benefit when I use some of these other tools? So I'm not telling you to dump it, although I know there are people who have, but you might want to consider, experimenting and building some groups other places, right? So think about that. I have a couple of places that I'm looking at. I'm looking at Mighty Networks, and that's probably where I'm going to wind up going. So I would encourage you to think about the same thing, right? Just imagine if you had a traditional business and all you had were phone numbers. Well, you can't call all of your people, right? Email is just faster. And besides, some people don't answer the phone. So you want to have as much contact data as possible. Plus, when you have contact data, you have people's, even their snail mail address. You can send them little postcards and things in the mail to help build and strengthen that relationship. So just to do a real quick recap here, talking about surviving the great blackout of October 2021, what can we do to minimize our exposure and risk? And one is, don't have all of your digital eggs in one basket. 2, put as much effort into properties that you have the most control over, and that's probably your website, right? So if you don't have one, get one. 3, collect your own data, emails, mailing address, phone numbers. Are you allowed to text somebody? And I always tell folks, hey, I'm only going to text you in the event of an emergency when I'm running a class or something like that. So all of those things, and then think about how can you easily start to repurpose and get your information out. And maybe the time is right for you to get your folks off of a particular platform that shall remain nameless for your biggest stuff. I know I'm moving the groups that are related to my paid work, my courses, and that sort of thing. I'm going to be moving them. So I've already been breaking it to them and letting them know. All right. So please, if you have any questions or comments, I would love to hear your thoughts about what you're doing. How did the blackout impact you? Are you making any changes moving forward? Let me double check. Just no questions or anything like that. Okay. So even if you're watching this on replay, go ahead and post your questions and share your comments. I will circle back to you. I'm actually sharing this on YouTube too at the same time. How cool is that? Because I want to expand my reach. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that turned out. All right, I will catch up with you later. It's Winnie Anderson, brand and content strategist, helping service businesses stop selling and start helping their clients decide to buy. I'll catch up with you later. Have a great evening and great rest of the week. Bye for now.